Record.
All right. Peggy is giving her icebreaker speech from the Effective Coaching Path Level 1. This is a 4 to 6 minute speech entitled, "It's Not All About You." It's not all about you. Peggy Seymour, it's not all about you. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. The purpose of an icebreaker speech is for a member to introduce themselves to a club. Let's see. I've been a Toastmaster for 6 years. I achieved my Distinguished Toastmaster in November of 2019. I've completed 3 paths, motivational strategies, engaging humor, and innovative planning. And I also completed the mentoring path. I belong to 3 clubs in District 83, Frontline Speakers, What Exit, and the Talk of Monmouth. And I am a proud charter member of the Maine Thing Advanced Toastmasters here in District 45. I've been an area director, a division director, a district chief judge, and I was also named District 83's Toastmaster of the Year for 2019-2020. This is my 9th icebreaker speech. And rather than tell you anything more about myself, I would like to share with you some of my experiences listening to my fellow Toastmasters, because it's not all about you when you give speeches. I have learned to try and speak slowly and clearly, because English is a second language for many of my fellow Toastmasters in my corporate club, and they have shared with me their challenges with the English language. Through presenting speeches, my fellow Toastmasters have shared their lives and experiences with me. I've shared their joy. I have vicariously attended several Indian weddings, and they are so visually stunning. I've learned about Diwali, the Festival of Lights, and saw the magnificent, intricate work of a Rangoli. I've learned the significance of a man wearing the Sikh turban. I've celebrated Chinese Lunar Festival, Lantern Festival, and the New Year. There are so many festivals and celebrations they have shared, but I have limited time here. I've shared their adventures, like spending a frightening night in the forests of Sri Lanka with my friends, and even accidentally bringing home a poisonous snake that had slithered into my backpack during the night. I've experienced climbing to the top of a mountain and the breathtaking vistas from the summit. I've learned about starting a new life in a new country and the challenges and misunderstandings they've had experienced. I have felt their joy and their passion, the tears of joy holding the baby that they have adopted and how much that child has enriched their family. The wonders of music and singing, understanding the cooperation needed in a choral group, working together to harmonize and make beautiful music. Oh, their passion for traveling around the world and discovering why they decided to visit those places. And now realizing I want to go there too. And I felt their pain. The pain of living with a genetic anomaly and the fear of knowing that you could pass it on to your child. Coping with a loved one's mental illness and the impact it has on the family. And the agony of losing a family member to opioid addiction and the lasting effect it has on those who've been left behind. And I have also shared their laughter and good humor. I discovered the magic of tidying up. A coworker who, to clean up before guests arrived, shoved everything into the hall coat closet and then hoped nobody would wear a coat. Or finding out a coworker's distaste for the color of orange. She grew up in the Soviet Union, and that was the only paint color available to paint her bedroom. And then there was a coworker trying to make his own business travel arrangements for the first time. Instead of flying to Indianapolis, Indiana, he ended up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. 591 miles and 9 hours away. And he was frustrated that the taxi driver wouldn't drive him there. So many life stories and so many hometowns from across the globe. You see, in Toastmasters, it's not all about you. It's about discovering new people and new cultures, to broaden your perspective and to embrace, or at least to understand, new ideas, even if they aren't palatable to you. This is the gift of listening. In closing, DJ Tershon posted this quote from the Dalai Lama last week, and I found it very timely and appropriate for this speech. When you talk, you are only repeating what you already know. But if you listen, you may learn something new. Madam Toastmaster.
That was awesome, Peggy. Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you very much. It got me a little teary and made me laugh, which I think is great in a speech. Make them laugh, make them cry. It's fabulous. Thank you. Did you know that according to Starbucks, the pumpkin spice latte was concocted in early 2003 in the company's liquid lab? Who knew they had a liquid lab? I did not know that. I don't go to Starbucks anyway. How would I know? Maybe some of you did. All right, our next evaluator to introduce speaker number 2 will be Kay Mann. Kay is from Brunswick Toastmasters, and the speaker is Greta Heimgartner, who is representing Kennebec Valley Toastmasters. I will turn it over to you now, Kay.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. I am evaluating a speech by Greta Heimgartner, who was a Toastmaster over 20 years ago, then took a hiatus and came back to Toastmasters in 2016, joining the Kennebec Valley Toastmasters. She is also a charter member of the Maine Advanced Toastmasters. In addition to holding club officer roles, Greta is the immediate past Area 5 director. Greta is a rescuer of huskies and currently has a beautiful girl, who I think is a dog, named Lizzie. Tonight, Greta will be working out of her second path called Engaging Humor, Level 2, Introduction to Toastmaster Mentoring. This is a 5 to 7 minute speech entitled Spice Pumpkin. The purpose statement for this speech is, the purpose of the project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of a previous experience as protege, and how that relates to Spiced Pumpkin, only Greta can tell us. Spiced Pumpkin by Greta Heimgartner. Greta Heimgartner, Spiced Pumpkin.
Thank you, Kay, and fellow Toastmasters. My first mentor in the kitchen was my father. He taught me my knife skills. He taught me how to do so many different things in the savory department. He only knew how to make pumpkin pie for the sweet department. He did know how to actually make some pie crust, which I still have the recipe and still use on occasion. But I think the reason he liked pumpkin pie was the main ingredient was in a can that had a recipe on the back. Couldn't lose it. We had the key 4 spices. Yes, Bill, I knew them because I have them in front of me. Cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and clove. I sometimes accidentally left out the clove because I don't like it. One time, I was experimenting and didn't tell my dad. I put in an extra teaspoon of ginger. After he tasted it, he said, "What did you do?" And I said, "I put in an extra teaspoon of ginger. I like ginger. I made it my own." That became our recipe from now on. He actually wrote the recipe down to make sure that happened. But as I grew up, I found I really didn't like pumpkin pie or sweets that much. I do, however, like the taste of pumpkin. Pumpkin does have a taste. My favorite part is to cut the top off, hollow out the middle, put some butter in it, and add my spices. This is my spiced pumpkin recipe, where I use chile de ojo, chipotle pepper, and ancho chili. Occasionally I throw in a generic chili powder as well. My dad tasted that and said, wow, we never had to have pumpkin pie again. We would always just have spiced pumpkin. Now you may ask, what does this have to do with mentoring in Toastmasters? When I was a member in Kennebec Valley before the main thing started, I wanted to get better at evaluations. I decided the best way to do this would be in contests. I needed a mentor. I looked around and asked who would be one palatable, but also who would be best for me. Who knows how to do the contests? There was one key person who'd gone to district many times and placed. I took his advice. We had 6 months to plan this. He would listen to me evaluate, give a suggestion. I would try it. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Just like for you, ancho chili may not work. There were times his advice did not work. The 2 items where it was spot on was he wanted me to learn what worked for me by changing up the methodology. So I did some research. Most of us know the sandwich method. It did surprise me that most of these have food-oriented words. So the sandwich method is praise, followed by some feedback for improvement, and then some more praise. Fairly simple. Another one I remember is the pie method. Yes, like the pumpkin pie, where you give the praise, which is pretty much very glad that you gave this speech. You did a great job getting here, just in general, making it go. Forms of improvement. If I had actually, dropped the bottle and didn't catch it, or just dropped it and didn't mean to drop it, there was always something to be improved upon. And then the third one on the E part is what you excel at. A fellow friend excels very much at facial expressions, especially her eyes. She excels at far more than that. But even she admits that she can always improve everything. I like this method because it actually makes a little more sense to me in the fact that even if you excel at something, you may not know you excel at that. It's important we get that feedback as well as areas to really improve. What I liked about all of these things was that it gave me purpose. Now, the second piece of advice he gave me, which I still use as a judge, although I will be entering contests again, was always say in conclusion or in summary and actually summarize. It makes it easier for the judges to mark on their square that has the summary part to give you points. It's a clear definer of a change in your evaluation. Some of his advice was kind of like, well, the clove, which even when I make pumpkin pie, I don't add. And the ginger, I will add more. But realistically, let's go for the chili peppers. It's so much better and it improves our lives. And yes, I do believe that spiced pumpkin is the way to go. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Greta. I have never heard a speech that involved cooking, which cooking makes me twitch anyway. With Toastmasters, I thought that was a great analogy. Good job with that. Thank you for sharing. Another little fun fact, because we all needed something to look forward to. Dunkin' Donuts graced us with the arrival of its pumpkin spice latte earlier than ever before. Dunkin' fans, such as my mom, the Happy Hugger, only had to wait until August 19th before they could get pumpkin spice anything. Makes me twitch. All right, moving on. Our next speaker is representing Brunswick Toastmasters, Laura Bailey, and evaluating her will be Olivette Aviso, who is representing the Maine thing. I will turn it over to you, Olivette.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. Laura Bailey has been a member of Brunswick Toastmasters since June of 2012. She is the current club president. Laura's goals include feeling more comfortable speaking in front of people, especially larger groups of people. She has signed up for 2 paths, innovative planning and presentation mastery. Tonight, Laura is speaking from the Innovative Planning Level 1 Evaluation and Feedback Speech number 1. This is a 4 to 5 minute speech entitled A Day in the Woods. A Day in the Woods, Laura Bailey.
Thank you, Olivette, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters. My speech I added a little bit to the title. So it's actually called A Day in the Woods in Upstate New York. And as I go through my speech, you'll learn why. So do you enjoy outdoor activities like hiking in the woods? Being outside in the woods is one of my favorite activities. I love to hike. Hiking runs in my veins. And in fact, I've done it for so many years with my family before venturing out into my own. It just makes me wonder where I got that hiking gene. Although there's several factors that bolster my affinity for hiking, a day in the woods in upstate New York was a pivotal moment for that hiking. My great Aunt Hope and Uncle Arthur were once avid hikers, even hiking to the summit of Mount Washington in New Hampshire, which many of you know where that is, before they moved to upstate New York. My uncle has since passed away, but my aunt still lives in upstate New York. And growing up, we visited them every Labor Day weekend. They would take us to a different place to hike every time we visited. A day in the woods in upstate New York is best remembered by a hike in Whetstone Gulf National Park, State Park, excuse me. It was a gorgeous day and I was 9 years old. On that hike was my aunt, my uncle, my mom and dad, my 6-year-old brother, and my 3-year-old little sister. We thought we had left in plenty of time to hike the trail around the gorge and make it back before dark. So we didn't pack our usual accoutrement of water and flashlights, that kind of thing. Well, if you've ever been in the woods after it starts to get dark, the woods are a very dark place and much darker in the woods than outside of the woods. My dad and my brother went ahead to get flashlights, and the rest of us were asked to just stay put until they returned. And remember, this was way before cell phones. At the time, we really didn't know how much farther it was that we needed to hike to get back out of the gorge and to the parking lot, but we knew we were close. My adventurous mom had good intentions of wanting to get my little sister and me out of the woods and thought she could feel her way down to the trail. My aunt and uncle were insistent that my mom just be patient, but she insisted. Wait, Joanne, wait, they said. And my mom said, I need to help my kids. She was adamant and continued one step in front of the other. And a few feet later, she ended up tripping over a root and, you guessed it, broke her ankle. At first, she didn't even know that she had broken her ankle, and she continued to walk on it. And she hid it well from my sister and me, because at the time, we had no idea that she was even in any pain. So only my aunt and uncle even knew that she was hurt. So now we were not only just facing darkness, but also an injured person. Thank goodness it wasn't long before my dad and my little brother arrived back with flashlights and saved the day. My mom put her arms around my dad and my uncle, and they gingerly helped her the rest of the way down the trail and back to the parking lot. My aunt helped my little sister and me, and we walked slowly behind my mom, my dad, and my uncle. And while we were waiting before that, I remember sitting down on a root in the darkness and looking up into the sky and seeing the stars glistening through the trees in the canopy. And I remember in that moment that I didn't feel afraid. I was very calm and peaceful amidst all that chaos. And when we finally did reach the parking lot, I remember the adults breathing this huge sigh of relief and getting my mom to the hospital, and the urgency to stay out of the woods. And I remember thinking, I'm good. I want to just stay here. I'm okay if we go back into the woods. But we did leave. My mom was taken to the hospital, and several x-rays and 4 pins later, she was released. But for me, if it hadn't been for my mom being injured, I would have just stayed there. I would have hiked again. I would have hiked in the dark. It would have been cool. So beyond the starry night and the peaceful darkness, the air was cool. The wind was calm. It was a beautiful September day. Had I not been 9 years old, I would have walked right back in. But of course, it wasn't up to me. I'm a kid. I was happy that my family was safe. My mom was on her way to the hospital, but I was sad that I had to leave the woods. So over the years, we continued our hikes with Aunt Hope and Uncle Arthur into my early college years. And even so many years later, I continue to hike whenever I get the chance, enjoying the sounds, the sights, the smells, and the lights of the forest. I've hiked in several states and Canada, had moderate and difficult hikes. I've hiked by myself, and I've hiked with friends and family. I've hiked in rain and snow. I've hiked on cloudy days. I've hiked in brilliant sunshine and at dusk. And when it gets dark and I find myself in the woods, I'm cautious but not afraid. I'm alert but not anxious. And I'm curious but not careless. The thrill of hiking fills me with joy and wonder, and it makes my heart sing. The only thing that I could do to make hiking more palatable is if I could do it every single day. I recently visited my Aunt Hope and with my mom and dad, and we reminisced about that fateful day at Whetstone Gulf State Park. However, it did not deter my love of hiking. It only reinforced it. And in closing, I would like to say that I look forward to my next hiking adventure, and it's all because of that day in the woods in upstate New York. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laura. That makes me want to take up hiking. I never wanted to do that before. That was great. Thank you for that. Did you know that the largest pumpkin ever grown was 1,689 pounds, and it was grown by someone in North Scituate, Rhode Island? That is a big pumpkin pie right there. Our next speaker representing the main thing is Patricia Saucier, and she will be evaluated by Ivana Cookson, who is representing the impediments. I will turn it over to you, Ivana.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So I will be evaluating Patricia Saucier. And Patricia has been a member of Toastmasters for 9 years, starting with Dirigo Leaders, a corporate club of Bank of America. In addition to Dirigo Leaders, she is a charter member of the Maine Thing Advanced Toastmasters and Toast of the Mid-Coast Toastmasters. 2 weeks ago, she joined MDI Toastmasters. Patricia has held several club officer roles, competed in contests, and is the current Area 5 director. Patricia is not afraid to leap out of her comfort zone, leading by example while encouraging others to do the same. Recently, she did an interview with WABI TV, Speaking Disability Employment Awareness Month. She is a spokesperson for support services at Bank of America, where she works. And today, Patricia will be sharing her thoughts on leaders with disabilities. She is working on her second path, Strategic Relationships Level 2. The project is Understanding Your Leadership Style. The objective is to share with the audience examples of her leadership style. This is a 5 to 7 minute speech. The title is Leaders with Disabilities, Patricia Saucier.
Think back to the time when you was a child. Was there a time where you thought that you were ashamed of something? Or a time where you didn't think that you would ever become a leader? As a child growing up with a physical disability, which is actually more visible, growing up, I found myself ashamed back then because people looked at you differently. Not only was I born with a physical disability, but I was also born with intellectual disability. And I didn't really know it at first, but they make you take these stupid standardized tests. And when I was a child, I took the standardized test like everybody else. And then what they do is they give you levels. So if you're below expectations, they just stick you in the special education class. If you're average, you get like regular classes. And if you're above average, you get to go into, like, once you get into junior high, which is really when they go into it, you get to go take these advanced classes. In high school, those advanced classes can also give you college credit. Well, when I was diagnosed with a learning disability, I was kind of ashamed at first because in the special education class, everybody knew we knew in the special education class. I mean, in Waterville at first, it wasn't so bad because we had a lot of people in the special education class. So a lot of students, so it felt good. But when I moved to Searsport, there was only like 3 people in the special education class. And so that was kind of daunting on me because not only growing up, did I have to try to prove people that I could play basketball with my little hand, I could play the drums in college. I had to prove to them that I could do anything learning-wise. My learning disability, I think, is, I'm not sure how to explain it, but the way I look at it is, like in high school, they would have me, like, for example, palatable. That is a word. And in high school, in junior high, they would make me go in and find out what palatable means. And then I had to put palatable into a sentence. My problem with that was I could easily know the meaning of it, but every time I stuck it into a sentence, my teacher would say I didn't know the meaning of it because I was not sure how to word it. The other part is sometimes I just need to simplify, or you need to simplify things. So if like which is kind of hard in Toastmasters because Pathways doesn't really simplify it for people with learning disabilities. But sometimes I just need somebody to, I used to call it dumb it down, but it's actually simplify it. In high school, I got really upset because my guidance counselor wrote a letter to my mom saying I was mentally retarded. That made me even more ashamed of having a learning disability because I'm like, wow. My sister and I broke down because they said that Latricia and I both were mentally retarded. And we ended up ripping up the letter and throwing it away. And then my mom wanted it because they were going to go and tell the teacher off. When I graduated high school, I wanted to go to a university. My guidance counselor pretty much said I was too stupid to go to university. I was going to prove her wrong. I went to the University of Maine, Machias, and yes, even though it took me longer than usual, I actually got an associate's degree. Yeah, it was 4 years and actually 2 years longer, but I got an associate's degree so I could go back and tell the teacher I wasn't too dumb to get a college degree. Now I work for a company that hires people with intellectual and physical disabilities, which is great. So Support Services was created by Helen Graham. She was a special ed teacher and she was teaching kids. And she realized, you know, these kids and students can do what anybody else can do. You just have to improvise or maybe simplify it for them to understand. Helen Graham talked with Charlie Colley of MBNA and he agreed with her and they created a support services department in Delaware. About, I want to say 1989, 90. So they've been around a long time. 1999, they created support services in Maine. Working in Maine, support services was great. I mean, when I was in the competitive support services, which is they call when you go into a department, I've only had one manager talk down to me. That manager was, well, she would kind of look at me and the way she talks down, and it's lots of people don't understand how to talk to people with intellectual disability. But the managers that I work for in support services, once I went to Central, they understood. They didn't say something like, now, Patricia, I want you to bring this over there. Then once you've done that, come back here and grab this and bring it over there. With support service managers and support services, they understand our weaknesses and strengths. And along the way, I started joining Toastmasters and it gave me more confidence. And I wound up becoming a leader on my team. But with Toastmasters, because of the Awareness Month, Brian Bragg asked me if I would speak. It's almost like I became a spokesperson for support services because I went and spoke for the WABI. And then I told Brian I would gladly be a spokesperson. That way everybody knows that when there is somebody with an intellectual disability, they can do anything. I just have to improvise the wording and maybe tweak the little things when they have a physical disability, but never count them out because they are just as good as you. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Patricia. We can always count on you to give an inspirational speech. And then for anyone who says, oh, I can't do that, all they have to do is listen to you. So thank you for that inspiration. I will now turn the meeting over to our table topics master for the big debate part of
Mm.
our soiree.
Oh, can't
I
wait
know
for
it's going to
that.
be fun. Take it away, Bill.
Well, thank you, DJ. You know, those were really outstanding speeches, and there was a lot of emotion, and it just as a participant or as a audience member, it really connected, and all of those speeches were outstanding. And we're going to have to amp it up a little bit for this exercise. So let's all take a couple of breaths, get ready. The first part of this is going to be group participation. So if everybody could please bring up their mic. Okay, I'm going to share a screen here. I'm going to go back one. All right, we're going to start with this first slide now. I am in touch with the marketing director of Pumpkin Spice International, and they are counting on this group to help us make some decisions on whether or not these products are going to fly or not. And we're going to see a product appear for about 3 seconds. And at the end of the 3 seconds, we're going to do those oohs and nahs that we talked about just before the meeting. So we're all ready to go. We're going to do a practice one. Here comes the first slide. We're going to do 3 seconds of looking at it and then let it rip. Ooh or nah. Ready? This is our practice.
Nah.
Ooh.
Oh,
Wow.
no.
Ooh. Okay. Here we go.
Nah.
You're going to put us out of business.
Is this the President Trump had recommended that we shoot into our veins?
Oh, no.
All right. For those that love bologna. Bologna can only be improved. Harsh. Tom, you're going to have to carry the load. I can see how this is going.
Yay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It is 100 proof. Anything 100 proof. It's Duro Clean. It's Duro. Oh, but they do great Super Bowl ads. Yeah. No. That's just wrong.
On so many.
Is it appropriate to say the eyes have it? Don't be hasty. I don't think plain is doable.
No, that's a real
No. It's long lasting. Harsh.
Poor DJ.
Okay. That person shouldn't even still have their job. Sleep. Well, yeah. All right. Now we're going to have some fun and we are going to debate. So the way we're going to do this is if everybody could please put it on speaker view. Please put it on speaker view. And we're going to need a volunteer. And DJ, if you could help me, actually, DJ, if you could stay in gallery view and you can tell me who our volunteers are. We need a volunteer to argue for the product that is about to appear on the screen. And we need a debater for against. So to kick us off, The first item is going to be one of those 26 or 25 that you just saw. We need somebody who's going to argue for it for 1 minute and somebody who's going to argue against it for 1 minute. And the fate of these 6 products lies in your hands. So DJ, who's going to raise their hand and say, I am for this pumpkin spice product that is about to appear? Who's first to say for, DJ?
I don't see anybody. You might just have to call on somebody, Bill.
Well, I think Tom's going to have to lead us off because he is a big pumpkin spice advocate. And we know we need to get off to a first start like any race. So Tom, you're going to be first up, and we need somebody who's against. Somebody besides DJ who seems to be against the entire evening.
Diane has raised her hand.
Diane. All right. So first up is going to be Tom, 1 minute of yes, we can. And then Diane with no, we can't. Ready, Tom?
I'm ready.
You are on.
Can I just get a big whoa? Is there anything better than Spam? I mean, Spam can survive a nuclear bomb. And I just think that if you're going to survive a nuclear bomb and you're going to have Spam, why not spice it up a little bit? Get that pumpkin spice in. You only live once, and if you're going to die from radiation from that nuclear bomb, why not go out with pumpkin spice Spam? It is amazing. Now, you might not like pumpkin spice. Even DJ will have to agree with me. When you put those 2 flavors together, it's unstoppable.
Oh.
If any of you guys watch the Food Network, you hear about the textures and you hear about the seasoning and the right amount. Pumpkin spice, it doesn't matter. Just throw it in and it's automatically better. So I would have to say, go pumpkin spice Spam, Mr. Tabletop Express.
Wow, the passion is shining through, Tom. Well done there. And Diane, what have you got to say about that?
I invite you all to lean in and read the ingredients very carefully. Pork with ham, sugar, water, salt, modified potato starch, spices, and most importantly, sodium nitrite. Sodium nitrite. Why would you mess with perfection by adding cloves, ginger, cinnamon, and that other spice that I forgot? Sodium nitrite. Pork with ham, sugar, water, salt, modified potato starch. Why mess with perfection? Spam has a shelf life of decades. And the reason why it has a shelf life of decades is because it's perfection. You add all of this natural stuff in there, it will be less than perfect. Why ruin perfection? Thank you.
Wow. Tom, you put up a great fight at the end of the first round. Diane might have won an edge with that last punch. It's up to the audience to decide. Okay, next up, we need a for and against. DJ or somebody or Peggy, can you tell us who's going to raise their hand and be for the next product on the screen? Who do we have?
Cindy Wilson and Laura Bailey.
All right, Cindy first up. Cindy and Laura will be going next. All right, Cindy, here you go.
Hello, Toastmasters and guests. We have for you this durable, cleanly product of pumpkin spiced Charmin. Now, we all know as we're sitting in the bathroom doing our ones and our twos, that we need to have a nice fragrant aroma to cover up any other aroma that might be in the bathroom, especially if you did not get your poo spray to cover in the toilet. Pumpkin Spice Charmin is here to provide to us the best outcome of keeping our bodies clean and perfumed. Think about this. You don't ever have to worry about buying an extra spray. You don't need to have a baby diaper whitey to wipe various products from various portions of your body while you are using this porcelain throne. And you're asking yourself, is this the most palatable use of paper that we could use? And I say yes, because we all know that we have to go. And here is that opportunity to use the go, do the go, and cover the go with something wonderful. Think about it, fellow shoppers. You have the opportunity to use this as the quote unquote perfume of life when you have this product. Think about it. You will love this product and you will find this product to be most palatable for you and allow your bathroom to smell so autumnly fresh when you have done the go. So fellow shoppers, please make sure you find this product as you go. It's limited edition this time of year, and you want to ensure that you have it. Madam, Mr. Tabletop Master.
Yes, well, thank you for that. That might be the most difficult performance of the evening. And you never know, that might be the last thing on the shelves and we're all going to want it. So there you go. And who is going to go against it? Is it Lara? Laura? Who's going?
Laura, yes.
Laura? All right,
Yep.
Laura, take it away.
So as much as I love pumpkin spice, Charmin is not the place for pumpkin spice in my house. And I think it's probably because it would interfere with all the other lovely things that are in my bathroom, like my apple spray or my lavender scents or the bathroom soap that's also pumpkin spice. But there's just too much. It would just be too much pumpkin to have it also on my toilet paper. And I don't want to have that anywhere near me while I'm doing what I have to do in that small little room. So I think I would have to completely pass. And the fact that it's 24 double rolls, that's a lot of pumpkin spice in a place where pumpkin spice does not need to exist. They would be better off taking that spice and putting it into a candle or soap or someplace else where we really want it and not that close to me. So my vote would be nix the Charmin pumpkin spice and put it someplace else. Thank you.
Well, I think we have extra applause for the two of you keeping a straight face through a very difficult assignment. So thank you for that. And one more round. Who do we have that's for it and who do we have that's against? Who is for? Who? Jeannie, we know you love pumpkin spice everything. Do you want to put your toe in the water here?
Sure.
All right. And who's going to go against? Should we have a mother-daughter matchup?
Oh, yeah, I'll go against.
All right. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, pumpkins. Kool-Aid? Oh, mercy. Lord, forgive me. Because Kool-Aid, to begin with, is probably one of the least palatable drinks there is.
But you're for it, Mom. You're supposed to be for this.
God help us all. Yes.
Oh.
Okay, Lord help me.
Jeannie, you can always say next question and we can give you another slide.
Okay, good idea.
You can pick from Skittles, Doritos, or Oreos. Your pick. Skittles, Doritos, or Oreos. Which one do you want to fight for?
Oh, the Oreos.
All right, there we go.
Oh, they are just so palatable, and the size is just perfect. The colors are lovely. The aroma is
There we
absolutely
go.
delightful.
I would have pumpkin Oreos every day of the week if I could do that. The flavor is just everlasting. The aroma is beyond belief. It's something that, imagine the people who invented this, how proud they must be, because it is a delight. It's yummy. It's a treat. It's about all I can say about it.
I don't know, DJ. I think you got your work cut out for you. What do you think? Don't hold back.
I think the people who invented pumpkin spice Oreos were doing some serious drugs the day before they came up with this little concoction. Oreos are chocolate. You can dip them in milk. These look like somebody threw up on a cracker. Why would you want to put that even near your mouth? It's the most disgusting thing I have seen in a long time. And I have to tell you, I do the shopping in my house. Unless my mother goes and gets her own little pumpkin spice Oreo cookies, these will never cross my threshold. It's disgusting. The smell, they're polyester cookies. You might as well just go eat a leisure suit. It's gross. No pumpkin spice Oreo cookies in this household. Mr. Table Topics Master.
I think we need a round of applause for all of our contestants. That was well done, ably fought, terrific all around, great emotion. Thank you very much for making it such an active and feisty debate. Thanks to all. Back to you, DJ.
Thank you very much, Bill. That was a lot of fun. And there are some really disgusting pumpkin spice things out there. Some I couldn't even share because it wasn't Toastmasters appropriate. The Charmin was really pushing the envelope there. All right. On this portion of the soiree, I am going to turn it over to our general evaluator extraordinaire, Division B Director, Tom Assiso.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. The evaluation portion of our meeting will begin. Could I please have evaluating the first speech, Aiden Gregory. Aiden, come on up to our visual or virtual lectern and tell us how she did.
Thank you. And real quick, who is the timer? I kind of lost track of who the perfect Susan. Thank you so much. Okay. Peggy, right away in your speech, you gave your own background. You gave the audience the information of who you are as a Toastmaster. And with that kind of knowledge for the audience member, it really gave credit to your speech. It prepared your speech before you dove right into the meat of it. So first off, nice job with the beginning of that speech. It gave me a clear understanding of who you are and your experience. Then you stopped and you took a turn into the area of the experiences that you took in from Toastmasters, that you heard from other fellow Toastmasters. You went with all these experiences that ranged in different parts of our emotions. So we had sad experiences, we had happy experiences, and we had exciting experiences like you listened to someone that talked about going up a mountain. You also had the sad experiences with someone that had to suffer through a family member passing away from opioid abuse. You brought in all of these different emotions, which again, really pulled me as a listener in, and it just kept us engaged. And it also helped bring forward the goal of your speech. And the goal of your speech was to have, as a person, and for everybody to really realize that reflecting as a Toastmaster on each speech that we hear is so important. And it's something that it made me realize that I don't do as often as I should. So your goal in itself, you definitely achieved it with me. And I could imagine that it was achieved throughout everybody in this virtual room. And you finished off with a wonderful quote that really, it was icing on the cake, and it was very impactful and again brought out that emotion. And next step that I could really give you going forward, I personally feel like you had plenty of experiences that really kept us as audience members engaged, but perhaps you at different points of the different experiences, you could maybe stop and break it apart and maybe reaffirm your point of needing to reflect. So that's a possibility. I think you have a great formula going, but that could be a next step if you wanted to go that way. And lastly, I know your goal was to focus on the rate of speech. And I feel like you did a great job with your rate of speech. At the beginning, you spoke a little bit faster, but I also think that was needed because of the amount of experience you have in Toastmasters. So you needed to provide us with your background, which if anything, it reinforced the amount of experience you have. But then you began to slow down and allowed the audience members to really take in everything. So overall, Peggy, I think you did a fantastic job, and thank you for sharing that speech.
Thank you very much, Aiden, for that very thoughtful and thorough evaluation. Next up, to evaluate Greta's excellent speech, we have Kay Mann. Kay, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Greta's speech was Spice Pumpkin, and at first I had no idea how she was going to draw a connection between mentoring and Spice Pumpkin or pumpkin spice or anything of the like. But you surprised me and you ran right out of the gate with your dad being your first mentor, teaching you how to cook. And I got it immediately. I thought one thing you did really well was to speak slowly and clearly so we could hear and understand all your words. I didn't have trouble hearing any of your words or knowing what you were saying. I thought you did a super job at incorporating visual props in your speech, holding up the pumpkin, holding up the different spices, both the sweet kind and the savory, spicy spices, to illustrate your story. I wasn't the counter tonight, but I couldn't have counted any filler words. I think if you want something that you could try to work on a little bit, it might be more vocal variety in terms of different speeds of words and different volumes and different ways of saying your words, and also make faces at us. You took off your glasses at one point and went up really close to the camera, and that was really exciting, but that was the only face you made at us, and it would be fine with me if you wanted to make more facial expressions. You smile very nicely. You don't have to smile all the time. To challenge yourself, I thought maybe, even though your progression of thoughts throughout the speech was very logical, you might have been able to play with flipping back and forth more frequently between your cooking analogy and the mentoring theme of your speech, just to see what would happen. In short, though, even though I really kind of question how palatable a spiced pumpkin might taste to me, you inspired me to try it. Thank you very much. Back to the General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Kay. Next up, we have evaluating Lara's speech. We have Olivette. Olivette, could you please give your evaluation?
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and most especially Lara. What a wonderful opportunity to evaluate your speech for a very special day in your life that colored the rest of your life. Your goal today was to practice and become more comfortable speaking before people, large groups of people especially, and being comfortable on Zoom. I thought that you looked very comfortable in front of the Zoom camera. The fact that your speech was a personal speech helped to bring that comfort level up. It's always more comfortable talking about something with which you are familiar, and certainly an experience from your own life is familiar. I liked the background that you chose because even though you had both a hill and some water in your background, you talked about walking in the woods. And anyone who's ever walked in the woods knows that you're likely to come upon water somewhere, whether it's the mud that you stick your foot into, or you might even look over and see that body of water in the woods. Some of the things that you might think about improving upon, especially when you think about preparing for a speech for a larger audience, would be to have wider gestures and larger facial expressions. I saw you in your little box, and then I increased to speaker view just to see the difference. Your facial expression could be a lot more vital. I noticed that you could have used your eyes and your mouth to bring us more with you on that trip into the woods. You didn't really have that much opportunity to use your arms and your hands, so that might not be something that this speech would lend itself easily for the use of. But next time or another time, something to think about, especially if you're practicing. You had a little bit of vocal variety. You might want to add a little bit more. Again, speaking to a larger audience, you want to keep them interested in what you have to say. And you can do that with vocal variety as well as gestures. A nice use of a different word. I like that. You inserted a different language. That's always interesting and something that piques your audience, catches their attention, and keeps them paying attention to you. In summary, I think that you have a good, solid background for building your speaking skills, especially with your goal of speaking to larger audiences. And I hope that I'm able to listen and see some of those speeches. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Olivet. And our last evaluator this evening is Ivana, and she'll be evaluating Patricia's speech. Ivana, take it away, please.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. So I have the privilege of evaluating our in-house celebrity. So that's pretty cool and frightening at the same time. I will have my evaluation presented rather than a sandwich format. Let's do like an Oreo cookie, right? So those that like pumpkin spice, pretend it's a pumpkin spice. Otherwise, it's a regular Oreo cookie. So let's start with the cookie part, right? Everybody wants to eat the cookie part first. So your speech was great in terms of being so inspirational, right? You really engaged us right from the start, and you were very excited about telling us your story. Like, we all felt we were part of your life. You knew your your speech. You barely looked down. Questions were good. You spoke with a good speed. I tend to sometimes speak very quickly. So I did appreciate the fact that you did take your time with what you had to say. You had good pausing. Again, good eye contact. Your audience too, you felt very comfortable with your audience. So to get to the cream, the heart of the Oreo, what I could say to improve is perhaps in the beginning, even though you were very engaging with all of us, we all know we have 10 seconds. We have to grab our attention of the audience. So maybe use this quote or a prop, something to really engage us in the beginning in such a way that we want to keep listening, particularly because your background was white and it was hard to sometimes draw us in from the beginning, although you did a great job doing so. The other thing is you did use your hands, you did it to count, and you did use it at some point, but I would have liked to see your hand gestures a little bit more, or maybe your facial features, maybe go zoom out or back into the camera, especially because now to get to the last part, which is the cookie again, right? Everything you did was great. I thought it was inspirational. I love the way you told us about your struggles, your setbacks, and then your successes, which is what we all love to hear. Your timing was a little bit longer than I think it probably could have been, and it could have been wrapped up a little better. But all in all, it was a great speech to listen to, and it inspired.
Thank you very much, Ivana. Now, I'd like to return the lectern, I believe, back to the Toastmaster, DJ Turgeon.
Thank you very much, Sean. At this point, I guess I will ask for the grammarians report. Bill, what do you got for us?
No. That's okay, Tom. Palatable was used 12 times, because I just added one myself, by 9 different people. But the overall winner was Patricia, who used it 3 times in her speech, and it was natural. Excellent usage. The word of the day outside of palatable was and. Very few filler words, but that was the favorite. Almost everyone used it at least once. I had to nitpick to really find anything. This was such a well put together meeting. Very few filler words. And of course, we got to have some laughs. We cried. We had a great time. Excellent work, everybody.
Thanks, Bill. And next up, Susan, could you give us our times?
I'd be happy to, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you very much. I will run down through the times 1 to 4, including the speaker and then the corresponding evaluator. With the main speeches being 5 to 7 minutes and evaluations 2 to 3 minutes. Peggy spoke in 5 minutes, 30 seconds, with a corresponding evaluation from Aiden of 3 minutes, 33 seconds. Our speaker number 2, Greta, spoke in 6 minutes, 37 seconds, with Kay's responding evaluation, 2 minutes, 23 seconds. Laura spoke in 7 minutes, 9 seconds, and Olivette's evaluation was 3 minutes, 35 seconds. Patricia's speech was 7 minutes, 37 seconds, and Ivana's evaluation was 2 minutes, 53 seconds. I think most folks really are all speakers and evaluators hung in the right time frame. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Susan. Charm, I'll turn it back to you. Do you have any comments, overall comments on the meeting before we wrap up? And I turn it back to Peggy.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And I'll start off with me. I shouldn't have turned it back over to you so soon. So thank you for saving me. I will say overall, I really enjoyed the meeting. I really liked the format. This was fun. It was festive. but it was also educational. And that is the point of Toastmasters, right? Let's get better as we have fun. I will say that having 4 speeches is awesome. I really love having this much meat, this much pumpkin spice. No, I'm sorry. So that was really great. I will say one thing though, that the evaluations in this particular meeting were above average. Although I will say that we are going over our times for the evaluations. Most of you are great evaluators. Almost everybody here gave a great evaluation. Now let's work on getting that in the 2 to 3 minutes. Just like with the speech, it's not how much you say, it's the value. And I think we could probably say and have just as much as a great evaluation within the 3-minute time area. It's not always going to be that way, but let's work towards that in this advanced club. But I do want to also commend everybody who put this together. This is a perfect example of how we can mix it up a little bit, get out of our comfort zone and get out of our routine of having let's have a seasonal meeting. Let's talk about autumn. This was so much better. I'm sorry if you guys had an autumn theme in your other clubs, but I love this idea. Let's do more of this. Blueberry Hill, which is my home club, is having a Spook Fest. You're all welcome to come this Wednesday. We're dressing up, we're telling scary stories. It's just something different as an example. So overall, I had a great time and I just really appreciate it. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Tom. I will turn it over to the Maine Things President, Peggy Seymour.
Thank you very much, DJ, and thank you for the theme and being the division director and coming up with the idea of gathering us all together. I know I found this evening a lot of fun. I know you want to take a family photo, so if anybody doesn't want to be in the family photo, now's the time to turn off your camera. So DJ, have at it. And
all right, on the count of
fun.
3, we'll all grin. Wait, I'm waiting for Bob to get in his little box there. All right, everybody, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, smile. Let me make sure we all look good. We all look fabulous. Back to you, Peggy.
Thank you so much. I would like to ask, yeah, there's an I finally did it tonight. Darn it. Patricia McNiven as our past district governor, if she has any comments about this evening. Patricia?
You, Madam President. I had a blast. I don't know whether you caught me laughing when you were doing the debate. I have to say, it wasn't what I expected, because in my mind, I thought the whole meeting was going to be a debate. A few people were doing speeches, the pros and the cons, but you had wonderful speeches tonight, great evaluations, which is so crucial for an advanced club. Plus the way that Bill did the table topics and did the debate, the oohs and the ahs and the pros and the cons, but very well done tonight, folks. I really appreciate the invitation and opportunity to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patricia. And Cindy Wilson, our past region advisor. I would be remiss not asking for your 2 cents.
Oh, you guys rock tonight, man. That was so much fun. I really do comment all of you on doing a great job. I love those table topics, Bill. How did you come up with those things? But I loved also the ability to do the debate of the pros and the cons, especially the pro of Charmin pumpkin spice toilet paper. I don't know how you got that one for me, but that was hilarious. Thank you so much. I'll probably visit you on occasion. And I know I've got to leave in a couple of minutes because I have a deck meeting to go to. But it was great. I love my girls DJ and Angela. They're just so wonderful, and it's so great to see them again. Of course, I love you, Peggy, but you also belong to District 83, so I didn't worry about that.
Well, that was a throwaway. Thank you, Cindy. Oh dear, what am I gonna do with you, Cindy? I don't know. Does anybody have anything else they would like to comment about? DJ's got her hand up. Oh dear.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for this Area 14 soiree. The next one will be somewhere around the first of the year, and the hosting club will be Brunswick. So we'll be excited to hear what kind of theme they have going on. Then we'll have another one in probably May. And the hosting club will be Kennebec Valley. So stay tuned for details on that. Thank you, everyone who contributed. I really appreciate it. And can't wait to post our family photo on Facebook.
Thank you, DJ. Anybody else? I will, Patricia's got one more thought.
I have a question for Bill. How the heck did you find all those images with pumpkin spice? They looked real.
They are real, and it's all DJ all day. DJ was the lady behind the curtain, and all I was the MC. So kudos to DJ for digging down and finding all those images.
Wow, great job.
Peggy,
Tom?
really quick. Yeah, really quick. I just wanted to put in a plug for District 45. We're having our fall workshop November 6th. Please try to make it. Our own Angela Schute's going to be presenting, and I will be as well. Also, we're going to have Toastmaster Day on the 22nd of October, which is coming up here pretty quick, and that's going to be kind of a fun night for people that want to tune in for that. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you all very much for joining us this evening. This was a lot of fun. And I will call the meeting to a close, but I will leave this open in case you want to socialize for a while. So good night, everyone, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Hey, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Bob, the puppy's gotten so big. Puppy's not a puppy anymore.
No, he's full grown.
Puppy's
But-
full grown. No puppy, no more.
No.
Oh my God, how fun was that? That was a lot
That
of
was a
fun.
lot of fun.
Thank
was
you.
a lot
That
of
was
I just want to say
yes.
What,
before I leave, I love you all. I want to say
love
before
you
I
too,
leave, I love you
Patricia.
all.
Nice job, Patricia.
Very nice, Patricia.
Thank you. Now, shh, I'm gonna go put together the newsletter. Although I think I only have 1 or 2 articles.
Oh,
And then what I
I'll
do
send
is
mine in.
I send it to DJ,
What?
and then I send it to DJ on the 24th, and she makes it pretty. Look at you.
A newsletter
And
under 15.
I also, Angela and them, they do the grammar at DJ and all the other people that are on part of the team. They make it pretty, and they do the grammar that I might have been missing. But I have to say, I learned more grammar working at Bank of America than I did anywhere else.
Good
Boy,
job,
newsletter
Patricia.
Under
Oh,
15
DJ.
pages, you're slipping.
I was gonna say, DJ, could you help me with the perfecting the speech I just gave so I could enter that into the next competition I do?
All right, well, I'm going to, because I have to get up at dark 30, so.
Yes, you do that. Yes.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
See you.
Good
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
Thank you. All right.